Hello and welcome you watching the Monday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shah Vincent. Multiple attacks that have taken place in Pakistan. What's the truth behind the killings that have taken place over the last few months? Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we get you the answer. Who's behind the multiple attacks that have taken place and how the old guard is being completely wiped out? All this and much more, but first let's take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Unknown gunmen backed by Pakistan's ISI on a killing spree. Old guards wiped out across the country in a series of attacks.
Eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy. Bring things to China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world.
Yunus takes the Sharjeel Imam approach, says China must invest in Bangladesh to blackmail India. Pro-Palestine flags raised in Eid processions. Kalash Yatra targeted in Mumbai. Stone pelting reported in Bihar's Darbhanga. Festive season turns tense as Muslim mobs target large crowds. Crucial evidence shared with Disha Salian's father. Photos, videographs, sting footage, documents of Disha case all shared with Satish Salian. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan, a nation long accused of harboring and exporting terrorism, now faces an unexpected internal crisis. Over the past 1 year, a series of killing has really put the spotlight on if the old terror guard in Pakistan is under attack. Former terror commanders, key figures once backed by Pakistan's intelligence agencies, are now being hunted down by unknown gunmen. First, take a look at this report, and then we put out the truth behind these killings. Who exactly is behind it, and what's the dark secret that Pakistan has been hiding all this while? First, take a look at this report.
For long, Pakistan has had a habit of blaming India for its own failures. Pakistan has completely let go of any shred of responsibility for attacks that are targeted at its own soil. A country that has bred and exported terrorism is now struggling to fight off an intense gang war. Since 2023, there has been a series of killings putting the spotlight on unspelled internal rebellion. In a severe blow to Hizbul Mujahideen, the group's launching commander Ahmad Peer, alias Imtiaz Alam, was assassinated in Pakistan's Rawalpindi. Peer was shot dead outside a store by an assailant who approached him from point-blank range. A terrorist wanted in India, Riaz Ahmed, alias Abu Qasim, was shot by unidentified gunmen inside a mosque. The Lashkar terrorist was responsible for the 2023 Dhangri attack in Rajouri, which claimed the lives of at least 7 people. Jaish terrorist Shahid Latif was killed by unidentified men in Sialkot. He was the mastermind of the 2016 Pathankot Air Force Base attack, in which 7 Indian Air Force Jawans were martyred. The mastermind of the Pulwama terror attack, Hanzla Ahmed, was also shot outside his house in Karachi. And today, Pakistani terrorist Abdul Rahman was shot point blank in Pakistan. A group of unknown gunmen are now on a spree in Pakistan. Once their ally, the terror outfit's old guards are now on the radar and slowly being wiped out.
Well, a rising wave of violence in Pakistan has seen a series of high-profile terror commanders being eliminated by unknown gunmen, sparking speculation that Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, could be behind the deadly spree. Once considered allies, these terror figures who failed to escalate terrorism in India despite direct instructions from the ISI are now being wiped out by their own former benefactors. The systematic removal of the old guard from various terror groups points to a shift in Pakistan's approach, with these terrorists no longer seen as useful and potentially becoming targets of internal power struggle. In fact, it appears that the ISI is carrying out what has now been seen a secret cleanup process. Let me also go across to my colleague Gursimran getting us the latest details. Gursimran, it's Pakistan's dark secret which is now out in the open. It appears that the multiple killings that have taken place, the ISI is largely trying to eliminate those who are no longer useful to them.
Yes, Yavan, that's what we are learning because, there have been more than 1.5 dozen killings that have taken place in Pakistan, and most of these killings have taken place post-2019. It was the time when the Article 370 and 35 Alpha was abrogated and Pakistan was pushing its terror groups to go on an extensive mode to intensify the terror acts in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. But it seems what we are picking up that when these terror commanders failed to live up to the expectations of the ISI, then came into being these unknown gunmen, because you see more than 18 killings taking place of the top commanders, and still these unknown gunmen are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be identified by the Pakistani security forces. Even at many instances there were clear footages of them available to the security agencies. This is a clear-cut indication that it is the Pakistani ISI that is on its operation to clean up those old guards which are no more useful to them, and this all is being done on the behest of the ISI. Because had it been someone else, Pakistani ISI would be the first to identify them and to blame others. But when it comes to these kind of incidents, ISI and the Pakistani intelligence agencies, those who look into the hinterland operations, they are completely silent on the issue. Reason being that they are backing them because they also fear that these old guards are now becoming a burden on them, and they could also be detrimental to them, because when the ISI will no more cater them with the excessive funding which they have been doing for last 3 to 4 decades of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir, these old guards may split out the reality of the Pakistan's direct involvement in the terrorism of Jammu and Kashmir. These old guards can be liability to them, and liability to such an extent that they can expose the entire modus operandi of the Pakistan and its intelligence agency ISI, and that seems to be the reason behind these spree of killings of the top commanders. More than 1.5 dozen terror commanders being wiped out, and there is no clue about those unknown gunmen, which continues to be the mystery men of Pakistan. Shawan.
Well, Gursimran, stay on with us as we dissect what exactly is happening in Pakistan, with more information now coming in. Now, there is a response to the mounting pressure from India and the strikes that have taken place. Pakistan's terror groups have basically shifted their entire strategy for infiltrating Jammu and Kashmir, downsizing large launch pads into smaller, more covert operations. In fact, Jaish-e-Mohammed has established a new training camp in Kadiala village, which is located on the line of control in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, opposite the Nowshera sector of Rajouri. Now, these mini camps, no larger than 50 by 50 meters, are hidden in the woods and are equipped with temporary tents. Small groups of about 8 to 10 terrorists are being trained at these launch pads. What we are essentially showing you is a video from the Kadiala launch pad. Now, this launch pad, where you can see, unlike what we have seen in the past, not really brimming with several terrorists, which would be anything above a dozen terrorists in one launch pad itself. It turns out that because of the fear of some sort of a backlash, we are being told that these launch pads in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, they've brought down the size of it, and the training still continues. Now, what you see on your screen is Pakistani army uniform being used by Jaish-e-Mohammed and they're carrying out their training process. In fact, while staying with these images, let me also go across to Gursimran for the latest details. Gursimran, we're playing out the video of the training that has taken place. We'll stay full frame with the visuals right now and tell our viewers what's really happening. And this video that has now been accessed, which is not long ago, we are being told this is just about a few weeks ago, and particularly the ISI on the one hand cleaning up the entire old guard and trying to carry out fresh recruits, fresh training that is being imparted in these very launch pads.
Sishavan, if we speak of this new tactics, this is being done after September 2016, the surgical strikes carried out by the Indian Army, and February 2019, the air strikes carried out by the Indian Air Force. That is the fear what actually the Pakistan is in, and that's why the clear directions have been given to the Pakistani terror groups to go with the new model, that is a small launching pads or the terror recruitment, terror training camps to be established. What they have done in the Kadiala village, that is opposite to the Nowshera sector of the Rajouri district, that a group of 8 to 10 terrorists, it is roughly the two group of the terrorists, small groups of the terrorists that are active there. And now what the security agencies say, that the terrorists are trained there and then sent to the forward areas, because these are the smaller groups. They have the temporary tents as their camps where they reside, where they get the training, a video of which we have also accessed. This is a video that was in the internal circulation of Jaish-e-Mohammed and was intercepted by the agencies. This was circulated in the month of March 2025 only. This month only it was circulated in the internal groups of Jaish-e-Mohammed with some songs that is for motivating their cadre. They have done it. But now what the agencies have got to know from this video, while analyzing that they have built up small camps. These camps are not very far off in the deep inside the dense forest, but in small forest, 1.5 kilometers from the main road, so that no one actually can say that Pakistan can operate their terror launch pads in these areas which have the population, the general population nearby. But the Pakistan is doing so because in Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir they have been using the areas as colonies, and they can suppress the voices that are raising out of there, and the Jaish can easily operate their terror launch pads from there, these small mini terror launch pads, Shavan.
Well, in fact, we'll just stay with this breaking news before we get to the other part of what's really happening in Pakistan in terms of the killings that have taken place starting from 2023, and a pattern basically emerges. Now, as far as these launch pads are concerned, remember, unlike what we have seen in the past, they've basically reduced the size of the launch pads itself. They are also trying to eliminate those who have not been able to carry out a successful operation in Jammu and Kashmir. That is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we are being told that new recruits are being brought in, particularly by the Lashkar-e-Toiba as well as Jaish-e-Mohammed. Their training basically continues in various of the launch pads. One of the launch pads, whose video now has been accessed by Republic TV, comes in from Kadiala in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, where the training is being imparted. But the difference here being is that the number of terrorists in each of these camps are much lesser than what we had seen. It is roughly between 8 to 10 is what we are picking up. If we can just fire the breaking news now coming in with regards to this launch pad, the video of the launch pad that has been accessed by Republic TV clearly goes on to indicate that there is a change in the tactic, and the tactic being that they are essentially looking at a smaller launch pad. The number of launch pads, particularly in Nowshera area, just opposite Nowshera area, is where they are concentrating right now. That is the reason why the number of infiltration that is also taking place in these areas, or an attempt for infiltration, has also increased, which was, of course, thwarted by the Indian security agencies. A quick response, Gursimran, with regards to what has changed right now in terms of these launch pads. Are they all concentrating near the Jammu region? Is that the focus right now?
See, Shawan, the details that we're getting up are mostly of this very area, that is that opposite to the Jammu line of control and the international border. The Pakistan has re-strategized with these kind of mini launch pads that they have brought in, because of what seems to be that primarily the focus of the Pakistan has also shifted to the Jammu region. They know that the security grid in the Kashmir won't let these terrorists to survive for a long, and also the local support that has diminished to almost zero. But in Jammu region, they know that in the upper reaches, the security deployment, since this was a peaceful area, they will get a chance to sneak in into the Indian territory, and that is what they have done. But now what is the new tactic is that the Jaish group that usually infiltrates from the Jammu, Kathua, Samba, the international border district, and carry out the attacks, they are not being trained in the Shakargarh area that is opposite to the Jammu region, but is being trained in the areas of Kadiala that is opposite to the line of control. Reason being that the Pakistan wants these Jaish terrorists to be trained for the jungle warfare, because they do not want like earlier to come out and carry out a Fidain attack on the security forces, but now they want them, the terrorists, to be infiltrate and then to head into the upper reaches.
I'll just request you to stay on, because there is some more breaking news now coming in as far as the jungle warfare is concerned. Pakistani terror groups, particularly the Jaish-e-Mohammed, are basically intensifying their training efforts for jungle warfare near the line of control, adapting to the terrain, particularly in Jammu's forested regions. Now, with the infiltration of Jaish cadres from the international border area, these smaller groups are being trained to acclimatize to the dense forests of the Jammu region. Let me also go across to my colleagues Kaswar, who's joining us from Islamabad, and Gursubran is also joining us. Kaswar, first, the number of killings that have taken place in Pakistan starting from 2023 is a clear indication that there is an implosion within the terror groups itself. And indications coming in that Pakistan's ISI is now on a cleanup mode, clean up those who are no longer useful.
Well, Shawan, let me tell you, you have rightly pointed out that since 2023, there has been a number of killings across Pakistan. And Pakistani investigators, during initial investigation of all of these attacks, have concluded that Indian RAW is behind these killing spree as well. And Pakistan's stance was also backed by the Guardian investigatory report as well. So on the very moment, Pakistan is very clear that Indian intelligence agencies are sponsoring the terrorism in Pakistan, and they are actually behind all of these 25 killings that have been taken place in Pakistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Karachi, in Lahore, and other parts of Pakistan as well. And now the Pakistani investigators have got a very concrete proof that actually it is a campaign that is being launched directly from the Prime Minister Modi's office, and Pakistan is actually planning to raise this issue in United Nations as well. This is what I have got to know from my sources within Pakistan. And today, when we talk about the killing of a Pakistani cleric, Qari Abdul Rahman, it was, I think, 25th of the same killing. And now the Pakistani investigation, even the Pakistan's interior minister have actually confirmed to some of the authorities in Pakistan that actually this is a campaign that is being launched by RAW, and directly it is being handled from the office of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is what I am getting from my Pakistan side as well, Shaman.
Well, Kaswar, thank you very much for getting us the latest details. I'll come back to you, because what appears to be a clear pattern, as I've been mentioning, starting from 2023. And just to take you through the old guard that we're basically talking about and why this is Pakistan's dark secret and the gang war that has basically taken place, perhaps fueled by Pakistan's ISI. First, let me tell you, who is this man? Bashir Ahmad Pir, known for training fresh batch of armed terrorists in Kashmir, again, eliminated. Let's just take you through the other details now coming in of those who have been eliminated. Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist, he was shot dead in Rawalpindi. Now, Bashir Ahmad Pir has a direct link with some of the attacks that have taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. Let's take you through the others who have been killed in the last few months. Saeed Khalid Raza is the former commander of the anti-India group Al-Badr. He too has been eliminated. Linked to the Islamic State Khorasan province. Once again, absolutely irrelevant for the Pakistan ISI right now, gunned down by the unknown assailants. If you take a look at each of these killings that have taken place, they are with the same modus operandi. Let's just take you through the others. Mistri Zahur Ibrahim, he's a Jaish terrorist who was shot dead at point blank range in Karachi. And he too, remember, with unknown assailants carrying out this attack. All three have a similar pattern of the attack that has been carried out, and that is the reason why they say that this is a clear ISI work, the handiwork of the ISI. Let me also take you through some more details of Riaz Ahmad, Lashkar terrorist who conspired the Dangri terror attack. He too was eliminated by the ISI in the last few months itself. Shot dead by unidentified men. That was in Al-Qudus Mosque in Rawalkot. Here too, in the last few months, the killing that has actually taken place. The other person that was killed, Shahid Latif. Now remember, Shahid Latif, for a considerable period of time, was seen as someone who was extremely useful to Jaish chief Masood Azhar. Surprisingly, Shahid Latif too was eliminated. He was, after all, the mastermind of the 2016 attack on Pathankot Air Force Base. And that, remember, was perhaps one of the reasons why many were raising the question as to why exactly was this killing that had taken place and who was really behind it. He was gunned down inside a mosque in Sialkot. This was just when he was coming out of the mosque in Sialkot when the killing took place. Again, unknown gunmen carrying out this attacks. So what's really happening? The other person, let's take you to the other terrorist who was gunned down, Hansla Adnan, mastermind of the attack on the BSF convoy in Udhampur in 2015. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, again, was seen as someone who was very close to the Jaish chief. Let's take you through the details of Hansla Adnan. He was shot outside his house in Karachi. Again, unknown gunmen. So we till date do not know who these unknown gunmen are, and that is the reason why many would be saying that perhaps the ISI has a cleanup process actually going on. Let me just quickly go across to Gursimran for a quick word on this. Gursimran and Kaswar. Kaswar, a quick response from you. And each of these killings that have actually taken place is an indication of the fact that they are no longer useful, apart from Shahid Latif. Shahid Latif perhaps was the only person who came across as a surprise, that his killing perhaps had a bigger message. Gursimran. Gursimran, I was asking you about the killings that have actually taken place. Apart from Shahid Latif, rest was seen as no longer useful for the ISI, and that is the reason why they're saying that this pattern of killing that has taken place in Pakistan appears to be a clear handiwork of the ISI itself.
Yes, Shavan, there is absolutely no doubt. Reason being that Pakistan ISI has tried to use their old guards, especially post the abrogation of Article 370 and 35 Alpha, because they tried that these old guards be useful to them, but these old guards have failed to live up to the expectations of the ISI, and that's why it was decided by the ISI and the Pakistani military that they will no more be needed and they should not be in the system, and that's why they were wiped out by the unknown gunmen, because it will not be possible that the Pakistani agency ISI, which orchestrate the terror attacks in India as well as in the rest of the world at many places, they have no clue about the whereabouts of these unknown gunmen, because they are backed, sponsored by the Pakistani ISI, and they are doing what the ISI wants them to do, because ISI knows it well that had they not been eliminated, they would have revealed the dark secrets of the ISI and the Pakistani ecosystem's nefarious plan to destabilize India and different parts of the world. And that's why it suits the narrative and it suits what Pakistan ISI wants.
Well, thank you very much, Gursimran, for getting us the latest details. Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time with more exclusive stories.